Hey guys, my name is Nora Franche, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessedness Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, we're reading from A Day at a Time, March 9th, Reflection for the Day. We learn in the program and its 12 steps that as we grow spiritually, we find that our old attitudes toward our instinctual drives need to undergo drastic revisions. Our demands for emotional security and wealth, for personal prestige and power, all have to be tempered and redirected. We learn that the full satisfaction of these demands cannot be the sole end and aim of our lives. But when we're willing to place spiritual growth first, then and only then do we have a real chance to grow in healthy awareness and mature love. Am I willing to place spiritual growth first? Today I pray. May my development as a spiritual person temper my habitual hankerings for material security. May I understand that the only real security in life is spiritual. If I have faith in my higher power, these revisions in my attitudes will follow. May I grow first in spiritual awareness. Today I will remember, value the life of the Spirit. Okay, I love this because it's so countercultural to think that emotional security and wealth, personal prestige and power are not the end goal, the sole end and aim of our lives, as they say here. And that's a really cool thing. That's why I talk to Christians mostly, because like as a rule, that's who I'm talking to, because we agree upon what the sole end and aim of our lives is. That's the only reason why I make that specification, because otherwise it's that sole end or aim is likely not, or may not be shared. There's a mutual understanding of what that is without even saying it. And the end goal is to be a saint, to end in heaven, right? And that's the purpose of our lives, if you really boil it down. And so there's this really cool poem, I guess you could call it, by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I'm going to try to recall it from memory, but I may mess up a few words here, but it goes something like this, and it's sow a thought, reap an act. Sow an act, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap your destiny. And I think this is really cool because it breaks down the coaching method basically to reveal that it has everything to do with our destiny, with where we're going. And so it's our thoughts lead to our emotions, which lead to our actions, that TEA. What kind of cup of tea do you want to make with your day? He says, sow a thought, reap an act. Well, we know that when we have a thought, it creates a chemical reaction in our body that is an emotion that we experience. So you sow a thought, you do reap an act, but it comes from the emotion that thought creates. So an act, reap a habit. It starts to become ingrained. There's a neurological groove forming in our lives that becomes deeper and deeper the more we do things. That's why the more we do things, good or bad, it becomes easier to do. We have to think about it less. It becomes more reflexive. So an act, that becomes the habit. So a habit, reap a character. Your character is simply the result of repeated actions that you take. And those actions come from your thoughts. So what kind of character do you want to form? This 12-step program is a program of character building, but for the purposes of a spiritual end, which is just so cool because your end is your destiny. So a character, reap your destiny. Your destiny is heaven. Why does this matter as much as it does? It's not just that it's good to be good. It's not just that we want to feel good about the way we're behaving. We want to be seen well by other people. It's because deep down at the end of the day, our actions do matter because they carry eternal weight. And golly, that all starts with our thoughts. And that's really cool. So I don't think we think about that. I know I did not think about that very often before stumbling across coaching, before landing in the 12 steps and everything that is done for my life. And this other thing here, that as we grow spiritually, we find our old attitudes towards our instinctual drives. They say need to undergo drastic revisions, but also they just do undergo drastic revisions. As we grow spiritually, we start to realize that we can let go of our grip that we have on these instinctual drives because they are hardwired physically to be very strong. And I think for the reason that, emotional security and wealth, that goes back to, emotional security goes back to like attachment theory. As children, we need emotional security to survive, not even just to thrive. And that is always deeply ingrained in us and forms the way we behave for the rest of our lives, whether or not we have formed good attachments, secure attachments, as it's called, or not. And ultimately, what we get to do as humans, because people are imperfect, our parents are imperfect, our caregivers, we ultimately get to learn to be our own secure attachment figure and then to allow God to be our ultimate parent figure in that secure attachment, which I think you see a lot in the ACOA literature. That's like the reparenting yourself kind of thing. That's the adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional homes. And it's really fascinating and it's true. And you see it across many different psychological disciplines, spiritual disciplines, and 12-step disciplines, which is very, very cool. So the other thing here for wealth, that's really just like a material security. So these things aren't bad in and of themselves. Emotional security, wealth or financial security, personal prestige or power. I think that has a little bit more to do with how we think of ourselves. And I think we need that less and less the more we come to understand and realize who we are and what we're made for. That personal prestige and power starts to fall away a little bit. It's always within us, I think, to be, pulled to it in some capacity or another. I think it's just in there, but we need it less and less the more we grow spiritually. And so these big pulls get to be, as they say here, tempered and redirected. So they're not bad in and of themselves. They need to be formed like a piece of clay. On its own, it's not very useful. But if you form it and work it and handle it the way that works with the physical components of the way it was made, it becomes something beautiful. And it becomes something useful. And it becomes something that can be used again and again and again for something good. And that is us. We are that lump of clay when we walk into a 12-step meeting broken and out of answers. And it is the spiritual growth, the hands of God through the group and the program that starts to work our clay and form it into something good, into something useful, into something that can be a gift to ourselves and to the world. So if that interests you, go to a meeting, reach out for coaching, and see what it can do for your life. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you are here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.